Hello, Cancer. Welcome to my channel and welcome to your reading for the month of June. So, Cancer, we're getting ready to enter your cycle, your moon cycle. And I believe that it's going to be around the 29th of this month where we're going to have a new moon in your house. And it's funny because this particular reading, the energy of the moon, which is the planet that rules your house or rules you, is here, the moon, and it came out twice. Oh my goodness, a lot of moon energy here. And you know, when we have a lot of moon energy, man, our emotions are all over the place, right? And in this reading, Cancer, your emotions are all over the place. Well, I don't know that they're all over the place, but the one thing that I do see is a lot of emotions here. Out of all the elements, the emotions are the ones that are ruling this reading. And the thing is that you have 15 cups upside down and 14 cups side up. So do the math. So we have 15 cups upside down, which is talking about the Magician and the Pope, the Hierophant, which to me, it's about doing the right thing. It's, it's doing what's right. And those are upside down. And the 14 that I side up, I love to do this stuff. It's the Magician and the Emperor. So look, I'm seeing that this reading is about a Two of Cups. It's about the connection that we feel with somebody. And we're definitely feeling this very strong connection. Damn, there's a lot of feelings here. But I feel like a lot of the positive feelings that you're having here is coming from you. Yeah, I feel like it's coming from you, Cancer. Damn, let me see. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Yeah, I feel like it's all coming from you. And the other, and it doesn't mean that the other person doesn't have feelings for you. That person does. But, and here's where I have to tell you what I see, Cancer. And what I see may not be necessarily what you want to hear, but I see that although this person has feelings for you, they're not strong enough to want them to work out their relationship in the way that you want to. Sorry, Cancer. And I feel like you might have tried a lot of different things. I think you've tried hard. I feel like this is probably a situation that's been dragging for quite some time. And it's hard for you to let it go. But you see, right now, the moon is passing through Taurus. And Taurus talks about our wealth. And to me, every card, every major arcana has the physical aspect and the non-physical. Because we always have to keep in mind that we live in a reality that is based on duality. So, we cannot just see one thing and not pay attention to the other. So you cannot just see the physical world as physical without paying attention to the energy. Because ultimately we're all energy. And energy is what's determining the type of experiences that we're going to have, right? So I feel like, when you look at the cups, right? They're divided between 15 cups that are available and they're alive, No, the 15 cups are the ones that are dead, that are upside down. And the 14 cups are the ones that are alive. And you can say, well, there's only one cup missing. But no matter how much you've tried, or no matter how much you want to try to work this out, from the perspective that you're having right now, it's not going to work. And that's what the oracle is saying. So I have to go by what the oracle says. And it's not that you don't have the qualifications as being an ideal person to deserve love. It's just that this particular connection is a karmic lesson. And karmic lessons, I mean, it's a little complicated because, sometimes the way we understand karma to be is fucked up. We see it as a situation that gets created where eventually somebody has to pay for the choices they've made. And it's nothing like that. Karma talks about action. So anytime you take an action, it doesn't matter what kind of action you're going to take, it creates an impact in the energy field. And that impact is going to come back to you because it's just the effect of that action. For every action, there is a reaction. Now, that's trying to look at it from a very neutral way of thinking. Okay? So if you're able to retract for a moment without investing all of your way of thinking and your belief systems to try to understand this concept, right? You'll have a better understanding that it's just physics. For every action, there's a reaction. Now, because we live in a reality that is magnetic in nature, the impact of that action, right, is going to create a reaction that ultimately will come back to you through magnetism. But in that process of that energy coming back to you, it will take into account how the other person received it, or how it affected the other person, and how the universe is also working to create the opportunities of those energies to come together. You see what I mean? And that's what karma is. Now, we have a lot of definitions that, says otherwise, because, that's what we do in this physical world. We create all kinds of rules that applies at some point, to justify our actions. But does that mean that it's in alignment with universal truth? No. But for a bit, we tend to believe that it does. So when I see this situation here, I feel like, okay, so you have a karmic lesson. And the question is needing to understand, or maybe, for you to understand, what exactly is this person trying to teach you? Because when we have karmic lessons, when we're trying to get help through somebody else to have a lesson, like this, for example, the reason why you're having it is because on your own, you're not able to understand it at a level that will be able to illuminate yourself, or your consciousness, or your awareness, or your understanding enough to be able to release certain ideas that are limiting you. See what I mean? So karmic lessons is one of the ways in which we are able to have an experience that can teach us something that eventually will illuminate our way of thinking enough that will help us to release a limitation and have a broader understanding about that experience, but also about ourselves, because ultimately it's all about us. If you don't have that experience, you may not have that level of awareness that your soul wants you to have physically. And it's going to be important in your path because eventually your aim, you have an objective and you have a goal. And that goal is to perfect the knowledge to a point that will allow you to say, okay, this is what I'm thinking, this is what I want. And I'm going to do everything in my power to expand my understanding of this, what I want. And in that process, I'm willing to work with other people that will help me and will collaborate for me to get more information about this. And now you're having an experience, and that experience is teaching you things that you may not be able to learn by just thinking it alone. And it's teaching you not just about working with somebody else, but it's also teaching you about you, aspects of you that you normally don't access unless you're working with somebody else. And the outcome depends on you, right? On your way of thinking, in the way that you're evolving, in the way that you're understanding life to be, in the way that you're understanding yourself to be, your qualities, your capabilities. And that's what Taurus is about. What are my capabilities? So after all of these experiences that I've gone through with this situation and with this person, and yes, feeling the way that I do is what's helped me anchored my energy to pay attention to this situation. But that's because there's something that I need to learn based on what my soul thinks. If I didn't have this level of magnetism, I wouldn't be interested. Let's face it, let's be truthful. So because this energy that I'm feeling is changing something within me in a way that I can't help but to pay attention, and then I need to search and, investigate what's going on here. But most of the time, Cancer, we tend to bring all of our values and our beliefs and our concepts and definitions and our expectations about what the outcome should be. And that's what gets in our way. And that's what makes our energy stuck and stagnant. And that's what makes us go around in circles. In a way, or in a point, or to a point where we drive ourselves crazy because we cannot seem to find our way out. And this running around in circles, it could happen either mentally to an exhaustion where we get, totally exhausted. It could happen emotionally, like it's showing up here for you. Or it can happen where, we end up depressed in bed and where we cannot move. It can happen in so many ways. And all your soul wanted you to do was to learn a lesson. And from a physical perspective, you forgot that it was a lesson. You forgot who you were. Or maybe you haven't done enough searching or seeking to learn about who you are as an energy being. So of course, if you don't know who you are as an energy being, your focus are going to be more physical, and it's going to be more mental, and it's going to be more based on the rules of the game that man has created in this plane that are not necessarily in alignment with the true principles of this reality. So now you're abiding by rules that are not necessarily the real rules, trying to do the best that you can in trying to achieve your goals, and you're not achieving them because you're not playing by the rules that really will help you achieve what you want. And that requires understanding, and that requires you to have this need of seeking for truth. And in this particular case, you're not doing that. So yes, you want a stability, and you're starting to feel like, it's time to move on. It's time for me to try new things, and you feel it, right? Because you have the Queen of Swords here in the obstacle, which is calling you. It's calling you to really face the music. And when we have 9 cups here, right? It's talking about the hermit. And the whole reading is about that. It's about you needing to face your truth, needing to face the stories that you've told yourself, because it's all about the moon. And the moon, of course, is such a powerful energy in our lives, because it's not only talking about our emotions, but it's also talking about the feminine within us. Our subconscious mind is talking about our understandings of what that energy is about. You know, what is love? What is comfort? What is luxury? What is wisdom? The moon talks about so many different things. And it also talks about deception, because it's a very enticing energy. There's so much mystery within the moon that, you know, that energy can pull you in. And if you're not purifying yourself, or if you're not grounding yourself, if you're not really grounding your energy, the moon can pull you in and throw you around and create all these illusions that are just based in fantasies. And I don't have anything wrong with fantasies. As a matter of fact, I do practices every day, Cancer, where I work with my imagination. But I use certain principles, universal principles, that allows me to know that when I'm working with my imagination, the end result that I'm going to get is to be able to magnetize the type of experience that I desire. So it's not just on fantasies. It's kind of like, you know, there's a big difference between the innocence of a child, right? That freshness that the child brings, where they don't know any better, than when you yourself are cultivating innocence after living a life of a lot of highs and lows and having many experiences where you've suffered, but you made a choice that those experiences were not going to define you, because what you want to do is cultivate innocence. Big, huge difference between the two. And the moon, like I said, has come out twice in two different oracles. So when it comes like that, when the moon is talking so powerfully in a reading, I would say, you know, you gotta work with your feminine side. All these emotions here are representing the feminine side, your feminine qualities. And if you have this many cups, or this many emotions, or this level, you know, you definitely feeling like strong sensibility. And then you need to work with your definitions, you know, what you understand about love and the expectations of love, because I feel like this particular connection is trying to teach you an element about those ideas. And one of the things that I've noticed is that with karmic relationships, sometimes we can attract somebody where we have a month of this incredible connection, and all of a sudden the relationship goes totally cold, and all of a sudden that person disappears. It starts disappearing. It starts ghosting you, and you're like, what the fuck happened? How can somebody change that quickly out of the blue, and one moment say all the right things and the next moment just disappear? Well, that's because that person was supposed to just do that, so that it will trigger all of the insecurities and all the different programs that you have running in your subconscious mind that is not in alignment with who you are as a person right now, and address it. But you don't see it that way. You're kind of like, you know, trying to figure out what the fuck happened, because we have been taught to analyze those situations from a place of you not knowing your power or recognizing that your soul is having a physical experience and it came here to have those experiences and to learn from them. And we forget it very quickly. Again, we have to go back to this idea that the rules of the game that we've been taught as a child are not necessarily in compliance with the principles, the universal principles of this reality. And if you don't align yourself to that truth, it's like making choices blind. You're blind to the choices you're making. I mean, you know that you're making that choice, but you don't know the effect of that choice. And you don't know how it's going to affect you ultimately. And this is the reason why sometimes we can have the pleasure of hating somebody, right? I noticed that, we have free will, so we have the choice to feel all of these emotions, and we tend to think that I have every reason to hate that person. But what we don't see vibrationally is how all of that hate bounces back to us in a moment that we don't expect it. So what are the solutions that the Oracle is suggesting during this cycle? Because I see that the outcome is this Eight of Pentacles. And the Eight of Pentacles, in this particular case, is talking about the Strength card, your strength. So working on strengthening your core values. And it's basically saying, one, patience. If you notice, we have the Hierophant here with the Temperance card. And when I see the Temperance card, it's basically relating to your internal process. Psychologically, how it is that you tend to put information together. But it has a lot to do with your values, your principles, like your core values. What are your core beliefs? What is it that you learned to think and believe that is your role in a relationship? Or what is it that you need to do in a situation when, you find yourself in a connection where the other person is not responding in the way that you're hoping them to do? So what are you telling yourself? What are the type of conversations that you're having in your head? Because one of the things that I notice, Cancer, is, especially with people under your sign, and of course this is not for everybody, but I feel like the Cancer has this idea that if I go out of my way trying to show you what I'm about, that eventually I will have the power to change your mind and help you see that I'm worthy, that I'm good enough, that I am the right person for you. And that's not the better option, because that's coming from a place of insecurities. And in this particular situation, the cards are saying that the other person, the reason why they walked away and they stopped investing their time and their energy, it was because they didn't feel like you were the right person. I know, once again, that this is not for everybody. I'm not reading here for all the Cancers out there. But, or this person might have felt that way in a particular moment. They could still feel this way now, because I don't see wands here. I don't see any indications of how the wands, the fire, is being directed. Not by you or the other person. I think the only fire, the only one that I see here is the Hermit. And it's representing your own energy, and it's upside down. But I don't see wands by the other person. So this person either talked themselves out of, trying to continue to pursue this connection, And they had their reasons because I clarify the cards. I clarify the Seven of Swords. And, I feel like, yeah, like somebody got tired of waiting here and still waiting. And the other person just decided not to communicate that there is a change in plans. And of course, I'm just, touching the surface, right? And then I clarify this Page of Swords upside down here. And we see the King of Wands upside down. And then we see this Knight of Swords coming in with the Strength card and the Three of Cups and the Seven of Cups upside down and the Five of Swords. So it's kind of like somebody coming in and wanting to know, hey, what happened? And somebody trying, right? Because when we see the Strength card behind the Nine of Swords, it's like, you know what? I'm going to do this in a way where I don't expose myself, the disappointment that I'm feeling, but I'm going to be very objective and very positive and let the other person know that even in situations like this, I can handle myself. But still, no matter how much you try to show that you're strong, behind the scenes, you're disappointed. And now your energy is divided. And Cancer, years ago, even in recent times, maybe we might have been able to get away with that division, like show people that I have it all together, but behind the scenes we're falling apart. And there's still people that operate in this way. But right now, in the way the energies in our planets, are vibrating, the type of frequencies that we're dealing with, this type of people that are used to do that, they won't be able to get away with the same things that they used to. Sometimes people can deceive you and pretend to be something that they're not. But today, there's a lot of people already that they can smell the disconnection, and when somebody's trying to fool you. And there's still people that are trying to learn that process, right? They're trying to, refine those experiences or that quality or that capability to see through the illusions. And I feel like there's some of that for you here. It's learning to see through the illusions that, yes, somebody can come and whisper in your ear all kinds of beautiful things. But ultimately, what really counts is how they do it. It's how they do it. Words are not enough. We're in a time where the experience is what counts. And maybe that's one of the simple lessons out of this particular situation that you need to learn is that, how do I refrain myself in a moment where I feel pulled and magnetized emotionally towards somebody else, and find this balance between getting to know that person and refraining my heart from getting ahead, or refraining my mind from all the different stories that sometimes it creates or believes about what this is going to be. Because a lot of the karmic relationships are not, for a whole lifetime. The energy has accelerated in our reality so much that whatever it used to take us years to understand, right now we could do it in a blink of an eye. It's like we're ripe, Cancer. We are ripe. Our collective is ripe to understand lessons a lot faster than we used to before. See what I mean? Because we've done this thing so many times that now all we need is the understanding. And due to all the transformations that are taking place in the consciousness of Earth, we have the opportunity to have that level of illumination to understand the experiences multi-level at different levels. And that's what the evolution is about, is that, you know, one experience is not just about what's happening here now, is that it will allow us to understand it multidimensionally, because we're multidimensional beings. And it will help us to see that, oh, we've done this before and we've repeated it in many incarnations, and now we're doing it again. But this time around, the outcome of this experience and the way that I'm going to understand it is going to apply to all the other times that my soul did it in other incarnations, and, you know, compress all that information in a whole file that it will demonstrate your level of mastery. So be patient with yourself, because there's opportunities for you to heal here. It's just a matter that you're able to figure it out. And that's why Queen of Swords is in the obstacle. It's you being able to find your truth. And, you know, I heard somebody say the other day, I forget who it was. Oh, I was listening to this priest who's left the church, but the guy, he's incredible. His energy is beautiful. And he was saying that his understanding of truth was the type of energy that we can use that will transform me enough to make me feel one, to make me feel more connected. So that's what truth is. And I really like that definition, because it's true. Information that is not capable of change you, to change you in a way that will elevate your consciousness to a point that will transform you and change you into a different person, and then it's just information. It's just like, it's like, well, I'm going to use shoes because I love shoes. And, you know, there are many different types of shoes. There's all kinds of shoes. But those shoes that you wear, that from the moment you wear them, they're comfortable. And you can have them all day long and you don't feel like you're wearing shoes. Those are the shoes that you're like, oh my God. And those are the shoes that you want to wear again and again because of the way they make you feel. Well, truth is kind of similar. It's one of those things that doesn't only transform you, but then you can utilize it again and again and again, because you know that you can apply it every time, and every time you do, it's going to work. So Cancer, thank you so much for listening. I wish you the best of luck. I hope that this reading helped you, or, you know, will end up helping you in a way that will open up your mind and your heart. It's so important to have our hearts open these days. And a lot of times we don't know that we are close, and yet we're expecting love and we're expecting all of these wonderful things while our heart is closed. So, you know, not until you open your heart, you're not able to experience the type of love or the type of connections that are really there to help you expand. And I feel like you did at some point with this person, but that person is not giving you the attention or the opportunity to continue to embrace that love. So this is one of those moments where you need to move on. I'm not saying that in the future, maybe, you know, there is an opportunity, but in this particular moment, I don't see it. I really don't see it. So thank you so much for listening. I wish you the best of luck until next time.